In a world where the line between reality and fantasy fades away, where silence carries a secret, and every whisper tells a story. Welcome to The Whisper of the Narrator. Here, tales are not just told, they are lived. Souls are reborn through words of mystery and magic, where fear, passion, and destiny intertwine. Every story you hear here will awaken something within you. So listen closely. The whisper begins now. Are you ready to listen? Chapter 19, Sasha Fulger, 2. I wake up from the memories Sasha's blood bestowed on me and stop drinking her blood. When I realize my bloodlust has weakened, I grab Sasha around the waist and lift her up. Since she was holding me with her legs, I could lift her easily, so I sat down on the floor and placed Sasha on my lap. I start stroking Sasha's golden hair, patiently waiting for her to be satisfied. She seemed to be quite weak, and one thing I noticed is that no matter how much Sasha sucks my blood, I don't run out of blood or get tired. I think this is because of the vampire regeneration. I noticed that when I started stroking Sasha's hair, she started sucking my blood more slowly, and she also adjusted her position to sit more comfortably. A few minutes pass, and Sasha stops drinking my blood. She licks my neck a little to clean up the remaining blood, leans back, then looks at me while keeping her arms around my neck. Seeing that some blood was still on her mouth, I approach her face gently. Sasha closes her eyes and accepts my advances as I start to lick her mouth, and slowly, I kiss her. I feel her body tremble a little, but she accepts my kiss and opens her mouth. Soon our tongues dance in each other's mouths for a few seconds, and then I pull away from her. She lets out warm air from her mouth as she looks at me with her red eyes. Her breathing was erratic, and she seemed to be out of breath as she looked at me. Seeing her blonde hair as I looked into her eyes, I couldn't help but think, she is so beautiful. Suddenly, I pull her head to my chest and start stroking her head. She seemed to hold back a moan of satisfaction. I couldn't help but laugh and let out a relieved breath. I needed to calm down. Do you know that? We just met? Sasha shivered slightly when she heard my words, and I noticed her cheeks starting to get a little red. She looked really pretty. I picked up her hair that fell in her face and put it behind her ear. I'm not usually like that. It's because of the ritual. Yes, this is because of the ritual and because I was thirsty. She sat up and spoke to me with a serious face. Her expression would be convincing if her face weren't so red. I flashed a small smile and I pulled her head to my chest again, then continued to pet her. A few minutes passed, and we were just enjoying each other's presence. I didn't have to say anything. After all, just like me, she knew everything from my blood. Even though we just meet each other now, we seemed to have known each other for a long time. Sigh. Sasha sighed a little. Then she pulled away from me and slowly straightened her position. Then she lay down with her head in my lap and looked up at me with her blood-red eyes. When I saw this scene, I had a sense of déjà vu. I remember doing the same thing with Violet. I thought, although with Violet, I was lying on her lap. You know, vampires bond really fast, Sasha said. Oh, I got curious, and soon I started stroking Sasha's hair again. In our society, when a female vampire takes an interest in a male vampire, the woman will chase the male, trying to tie him up in marriage. It's the same with a male vampire who likes a female vampire, Sasha said. A stalker society, huh? I couldn't help but think. Then she continues, the same thing happened to my mother. She was the heiress of the Fulger family at the time. One fine day, she saw my father, a blonde vampire with blue eyes, and she became obsessed with him. The next day, she kidnapped him and married him. Sasha spoke with a neutral face as she closes her eyes and enjoys my caresses. My father's family had a much lower status than my mother, and vampires by nature are greedy. Because of that, my father didn't complain much when he was kidnapped. Jesus Christ. Wait, isn't this situation somehow familiar? I couldn't help but think to myself, fortunately, my father was a noble vampire who had a stamina trait, far above normal. And when the two of them had a child, I was born. I got my mother's lightning bolt and my father's stamina. Because of that, I can use my skills easily. If I only had my mother's lightning ability, every time I used that power, I would be extremely debilitated. After all, the technique of my clan that uses lightning requires the vampire to have a strong body. I didn't understand why she was telling me this, but I decided to listen in silence. She seemed to be venting her emotions. Just because I was born with better lightning resistance, my mom and dad treated me like a fun object to quench their boredom. They did a lot of experiments for me to improve lightning control. Sasha spoke, as if telling the story of someone else. She didn't seem to mind the story, but I could tell by her tone of voice that she's sad. I went through a lot of training. They put me in an electric chair, and they tested my resistance to electricity. They threw me under the sea and asked me to use lightning skills to see if I would come out alive. They used the excuse of training to experiment on me, to satiate their boredom. After all, I, as a noble vampire, have a much higher regeneration than normal. I went through a lot of training, and I almost died several times. She spoke the last phrase with a little pain. But I held on. I held on until these two lost interest in me, and they were bored again. Suddenly, a wave of emotions started to flood my heart. These emotions weren't mine. I bit my lip, and I tried not to demonstrate anything. And that was when I got my personal maid. She bit her lip and put her arm over her eyes and said in a shaky voice, Julia, she was like a mother to me. Whenever I came home, falling apart and almost dead, she would cure me and treat me like a real daughter. I saw drops of blood falling from Sasha's face. I feel these drops of blood falling on my thigh. But I didn't care. I bit my lip and tried to remain neutral. I was feeling my heart sink and I felt like crying. It was a strange feeling. I seemed to be feeling all her emotions. She taught me everything I know today. etiquette, education, the rules of the noble world, arithmetic, geography, vampire history. She even played with me using games created by humans. I really enjoyed playing chess with her. She was a mother to me. A mother like my real mother never was. I miss her. I felt all the pain and sadness of Sasha when she spoke those words. Her body was visibly shaking, and she looked very fragile. I miss her. I miss my mom. I miss playing with her. I miss talking to her. I. She bites her lip and can't speak anymore. I feel her body shaking. Now she didn't look like a dangerous vampire. She just looked like a child who lost her mother. I bit my lip as hard as I could, and I felt the blood pouring from my mouth. But I ignored it. I did my best to keep a neutral expression as I gently stroked Sasha's hair. "You can cry, Sasha," I said as gently as possible. I just wanted to lighten her burden a little. She turned her face to the left and hid her face in my lap as she started to cry silently. Not wanting her to hide what she's feeling, I lift her up and put her in my lap. Then I hold her. I place her head on my chest, and she hides her face as I feel the tears of blood wetting my shirt. I ignored it and was trying to do my best to control my emotions. I was mad at Sasha's parents for what they did to her. I was sad that Sasha had lost someone who was like a mother to her. I was disgusted by Sasha's parents for using their daughter as an object to quench their boredom. I was sorry for Sasha for having to deal with everything that happened to her. And I had immense respect for Julia and everything she did for Sasha. I had a lot of emotions running through my heart, and I wasn't managing to deal with all of those emotions at the same time. For the first time, I understood the difficulty of controlling a vampire's amplified emotions. I could feel everything multiplied by 500 times, and that wasn't an easy task. I bit my lip with my sharp teeth. I felt blood pouring from my mouth and the pain I was causing myself. But I didn't care. I hugged Sasha gently as I stroked her head. I didn't want to say anything like, "It's all right." I didn't want to be a hypocrite with her, and because of that, I just decided to act as a support for her. Now, she just needs someone to vent her emotions. Kaguya appears at the door, and, seeing me hugging Sasha, she was going to open her mouth, but I just said, "Leave." My voice came out more demonic than I intended. Kaguya's eyebrows quivered for a moment. But soon she nods her head and leaves the room. I probably don't have a good expression right now. Kaguya POV. Some time passed, and I was going back to the room I left Lord Victor in with Lady Sasha. When I reached the front of the room, I opened the door, and just as my eyes meet Lord Victor's red eyes, I feel my whole body paralyze. Lord Victor's face was very cold, and I felt my instincts screaming from danger. I also noticed that he was biting his mouth very hard, and he was hugging Sasha very protectively. "Leave." Hearing Lord Victor's order, I felt my whole body demanding as if I had to obey. It was like a primordial urge telling me that I shouldn't deny this order, because if I ignored it, something really bad would happen. Lord Victor's order is absolute. If he ordered me to do something, I must obey. I nod in agreement, and immediately I leave the room. The moment I'm away from the room, I stop walking and regain my consciousness. What happened? I couldn't help but ask aloud in shock as I looked towards the direction of the room where Lord Victor was. A few minutes pass, and Sasha stops crying. She looks at me with the face of a person who has just cried a lot. I'm sorry. Before Sasha can say any nonsense, I put my finger to her mouth in a silent gesture. Shh, everything is fine. Everything is fine, okay? Sasha nods her head, and I bring my hand to her face. When she realizes my hand is on her face, she puts her head in my hand. I laughed a little and slowly started to wipe the bloody tears from her face. Weird. Why do I feel so safe with you? She asked in a confused voice as she looked into my eyes. I could see her eyes had turned sapphire blue. I'm just built different, I said with a small smile. She laughed a little when she saw my unintentional joke, but I also noticed that her emotions calmed down a little when she laughed. She seemed to be fine. I could feel her heart was serene. But I also felt immense anger, hidden by all that serenity. Violet and I will help with your revenge, I said in a gentle tone. She looks at me with a serious face. I know, I said with a small smile. Huh. She made an expression showing she didn't understand. You want to avenge your mother alone, right? You would probably tell me not to meddle in your affairs. I chuckled a little when I saw her shocked expression. How do I know this? It's simple. Our connection told me. I spoke while laughing. But that's not the way the connection works. It was just supposed to share the couple's location. Like a GPS, she practically screamed. Mine works different, I said, laughing. I know I'm not normal, but Violet knew that from the beginning, right? I said with the same smile. Sasha pouted. Stop. Please, stop interrupting me. She looked so adorable now. Impossible, I replied. Wah? Your troubled expression is too beautiful for me to stop doing that. Sasha turned her face away and tried to hide her embarrassed expression. I stroke her head, but suddenly I get up off the floor while holding her like a princess. Then I carry her to the bed and leave her there. Natalia, I called the blonde maid. Yes, Lord Victor? Natalia appears from a secret passage. Make Sasha's accommodations. She'll live with us from now on. Impossible. We don't have enough space. Natalia was going to continue, but I interrupted. I wanted Sasha around. Someone has to keep an eye on her, or she'll screw up. The male vampires, who are Violet's servants, are supposed to stay in her mansion or around my house. As long as Sasha lives with us, I only want the female vampires around her. I remember there is a building for sale a block away. Use Violet's money and buy that building. I don't want men living just a room away from Sasha. What if she's changing clothes and some of them see? Well, I know she'll probably kill them, and so would I. But it's better to avoid casualties. I sigh a little internally. I don't like to use my wife, Violet's money. After all, that money isn't mine. But that's just my pride talking. I think I should start the plan I had before. I need to make money. I'll start stealing, but in the future, I'll make my money legally within the government's laws. After all, money makes money. I just have to use it smartly. In some situations, pride is useless. I can easily ignore my pride if I can resolve a situation for my wives. If my pride is holding me back, I just have to throw my pride away. My pride is worthless if it means my wife's well-being. I just don't ignore my pride when the situation is something like Luan. He's my enemy. If he is my enemy, I must fight him. I don't throw this pride away. And I also don't let anyone step on my pride. My enemy is mine alone. I want to see his expression of despair. I want to see him slowly breaking down as I step on them. This pride I don't give up. That's possible. The building is much cheaper than the defenses made by the witch June. Natalia spoke with a slightly surprised expression. Hearing Natalia's words, I wake up from my stupor. I can't help but sigh internally. I lose control of my emotions too easily. Is it because I'm still evolving? Normally, I don't let this sadistic side of me go. I stop thinking about bullshit, and I say, let Violet know that Sasha is moving in with us. I will also need to talk with my wife. She will be very angry. Tell her to meet me. I think she will do that. Natalia spoke with uncertainty. Oh, she will, I say with a small smile, then continue as I walk towards the exit of the room. My wife is a jealous woman and obsessed with me. She always puts my safety first and forgets of her own safety. She has the best qualities of a woman. Soon, I continued. She is also a loving person. She is a kind woman. And she is very fond of Sasha, who is her childhood friend. But her jealousy and obsession for me cloud her judgment. Lord Victor, I thought you didn't know about Lady Violet's personality. Natalia spoke a little surprised. Oh, I know her personality after all. She has the same personality as me. I commented with a small smile that Natalia couldn't see. When Victor left the room, Sasha looked at Natalia and asked, "What happened?" Lord Victor is taking care of you. Natalia spoke in a neutral tone with a stoic expression, and she also thought internally. Upon contacting Sasha, Lord Victor let his real personality show a little. This took much longer than expected. Normally, newborns show their true selves the moment they turn into vampires. I think Victor has great self-control, and I'm a little curious what he's going to become when he can't hold back. Is he taking care of me? Sasha spoke with a strange expression, but soon after, she flashes a big, distorted smile. I see, he's taking care of me. She put both hands on her face to hide her expression, like a teenager in love, and started laughing in a low voice. She lays down on the bed and hides her face in the pillow. Natalia just looked at Sasha with a stoic expression. It was like she was used to seeing this kind of demonstration before. Her too, huh? Lady Violet's friends are very similar to her. And so, the whisper fades. But the story never truly ends. Each tale hides within it a new beginning. Perhaps even another life waiting to be told. You've been listening to The Whisper of the Narrator. If this journey touched your soul, don't let it end here. Subscribe, stay, and listen again. For the next whisper will be deeper, darker, and more beautiful.